It is a list of burned libraries. So not just oh, there was a war and there was bombing and the library was destroyed. Not like that. This is when the library is targeted to destroy the cultural knowledge inside. When there was an Occupy movement in New York City. So it was like young people in tents, and they built a library made of tents. And then the city said, you can't do this, you're blocking the roads. You can't be here. So they came and destroyed the tents and all the books inside the tents as well. I consider this to be a destruction of a library. Libraries of Fisheries and Oceans Canada. This is a digital library, which was then erased by the government, basically to save data. And this is a new form. It's like digital information being completely destroyed, erased from history. We are here in Tallinn, Estonia, and what I do is I collect banned, burned and censored books from around the world. I bring them here to Estonia, where we protect them, preserve them, and tell people the stories of their censorship. Here we have 1984. It is a book which has been banned in many different countries at many different times. The book is about a future kind of authoritarian world, and I think it's filled with political kind of metaphors and is therefore very sensitive. And authoritarian regimes really don't like this book, and continues to be banned actually in some countries, especially in the kind of some countries in the Arabic speaking world, or in Iran, certainly in North Korea. Since I moved to Estonia, actually things have gotten worse in China. So that's why I wanted to do something to help and do something to contribute to this kind of universal problem of censorship and misinformation. Collecting the books and protecting authors' rights is my small contribution. We often have student groups who come to the museum, like high school kids and stuff, and they love this place. And they start talking to each other about propaganda, what they see online, what they see on the internet, and the ways that people are trying to control what they think. So because they're having this conversation in the museum, I see that we are inspiring, and I see that we are inspiring them. And that's really what I want to do. In Estonia is kind of the perfect place to do a project like this, because in Estonia, people really have an allergic reaction to censorship. People take this topic very seriously because of the past, during the Soviet occupation and everything. So much was restricted. And so people today are very, very concerned about their freedom of speech, authors' rights, freedom for journalists, and this kind of stuff. So this is the perfect place to do it. And there are very, very, very few books restricted in Estonia. Estonia is one of the most free speech, positive countries in the world. So much that sometimes it causes problems. I would not be comfortable doing this project in most countries. In most countries I would have to seriously think about what I can show and what I can't show. But in Estonia I feel very comfortable. I have never had any problems here. They don't give you money just because they like you. They give you money to achieve their objectives. And I'm more interested right now in achieving our objectives and growing the collection and choosing for myself what is important to focus on. That's what makes us special, I think, because I'm free to do what I think we need to do. If we start taking money from the city or something, then really they're in control, which is not ideal for me. No, it's very difficult to stay operational.
But you are selling some book, right?
Yeah, we do. We sell books, we sell merchandise, doing tours, book clubs. My life is just researching this topic all the time, which I love and care about, and I only have to collect one copy of the books instead of trying to stock and just every day dealing with the business. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in the research. I'm interested in learning more about censorship and protecting the rights of authors. So the books which we sell are focused on censorship and helping people to understand this topic. Dare to Speak, which is a new book written by the CEO of PEN, which is a major international NGO, and Trigger Warning, Free Speech. These are all books which are about books which are about censorship of books and talking about free speech and why it's important and explaining to people. Well, these are all books which have been burned in different incidences. So for example, this one, Operation Dark Heart, we have the year, 2010, this is when it was burned in America, the name and story in Estonian, and then underneath the name and story in English. And this particular book is about military secrets. And when the book came out, the government said, you can publish the book, but only in an edited version. So they were allowed to publish it, but only with these blacked out. I write everything, and then I have a team of volunteers who are incredibly, helpful and useful, and they help me with the translations. They help to, be here in the museum when we're open. Of course, from Estonia, a new guy who's from Russia. He's helping to develop our Russia section, which is important here in Estonia. Some of the books which mean the most to me in the museum are the ones sent to us by the authors. De Dovpot General in Dutch, it means like the cover-up general, by Edwin Gilte, and he sent this book to us and told us his story. He said, I have this story, this happened to me, my book was banned, and I want to tell you what happened, and I want people to know about this story. We have a place here, which is for them, and it's part of their, sometimes it's part of their kind of psychological healing process, because it's very traumatic what happens to them. Like we have this section for Russia, which is a relatively small section considering the importance of the country. But this is why our team is now coming together, and we are getting team members who are actually from Russia to help us to collect these books. It's an awkward time actually to work on the Russia section because of the war in Ukraine. We can't actually get these books from Russia now. Not easily, I would say. So it's a tricky time, but we can at least do the research. And I have 2 or 3 people who are Russian, in our volunteers who are Russian native. They're born in Russia, understand the language, understand the history, and they're very smart, and they can get stuff to us. These are books which were banned when the Soviets came to Estonia in 1940. And actually here you can see the notice, a copy of the notice, and it says 30th of August 1940. And these are the names of the authors. The names of all the books and the authors that were banned in 1940 in Estonia. Of course, most of the names are Estonian, and the books are about Estonian nationalism or democracy, but some of the authors some of the authors like Walt Disney or Arthur Conan Doyle or Edgar Allan Burroughs, these kind of famous Western authors who wrote books like Mickey Mouse or Sherlock Holmes, this stuff was also banned. You get to see really what people are scared about teaching to their children, and this is always funny. This is one which is good, and Tango Makes 3, which is a true story about 2 male penguins in New York City Zoo who raised a baby together. And this book was not allowed because, there are some parts of the USA where they are very scared about gay parents and stuff, but it's a true story. It really did happen. actually. And then the baby chick grew up, and she was also in a gay relationship. So. It's a strange thing though, because of course there's such a culture of free speech in America. People are surprised to see so many books, but it makes sense because actually it's a reflection of how free the country is.
Yes.
Because people have the power in the USA over their local museums, over their local schools, even over their local prisons and things like that. So if there's a group of parents who don't like a book because it has, you know, gay themes or whatever, they have the power, they have the authority by law to remove the books. In Europe, we don't really have that. In Europe, it's more like an institutional kind of level of power. But in the USA, it's at the bottom. But usually, well, almost always, there's a much larger group of Americans who say, no, 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 this is America, and we have free speech here, and you can't do this. And then they put the book back. So it's a constant, you know, back and forth. It comes in waves in the USA, you know, topic by topic. Sometimes it's climate denial, sometimes it's, you know, LGBT things, sometimes it's critical race theory. This is the new thing. This is a funny example, yeah. This is a book which was banned only because the name of the author, Bill Martin Jr., sounds like this author, Bill Martin, who wrote Ethical Marxism. So the state of Texas, they wanted to ban this book, Ethical Marxism, but instead of banning the book, they banned the author, accidentally also banning this unrelated, dead at the time author, Bill Martin Jr. China is a country which continues to get ever more censorious. It's starting now to really export its methodology and its technology to other countries, which is very worrying. We see Chinese facial recognition technology appearing in Iran and in other places around the world. I expect that this problem is systematic censorship is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're going to see that exported like a product, sold to other governments around the world which want to control the population very tightly. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in Hungary, the center of Europe. So we need to know about this. We need to pay attention. Like, it's going to happen. It's going to be in your country too, and mine. So start now to pay attention to what is happening in China and the ways that they control the population and control their minds. Censorship is a part of communication. It's an aspect of communication, and it's not going to go away. We have to learn how to deal with it. It's like fire. It's like fire. Fire is not going to go away. It's dangerous, and we're not going to defeat it. But we put things in place to deal with it, to make it kind of so we can live with it. And that's what we have to do with censorship. We have to put things in place so that we can minimize it and can understand it. In Chinese thought, censorship is harmonious. It creates harmony between people. So if you have a group, if you have many people in your country and you want them to be peaceful and to not fight with each other, you can use censorship to control what they say and do, encouraging critical thinking. We can develop people into wise speakers and wise listeners, because of course the other side of free speech is to listen. Free speech is also about listening. It's also about shutting up and listening to other people and the things you don't want to hear, letting them talk. I think that's very important. Sometimes it's not talked about. But yeah, if you want to have your free speech is not only your right to stand up and speak, it's your right to sit down and shut up.